All right. Come on. All right, what's up? So, I'm Mitchell again from Side, and I'm doing another Facebook Live video. One thing that I want to go over this week is weightlifting belts. So I got a bunch here. We're going to talk about a couple things. And we get that a lot. A big topic is, sorry, I got something in my eye. A big topic is weightlifting belts, because a lot of people will see people wear the belts, or they see an ad online, or they get one, or, you know, just everybody jacked is wearing a belt, right? So we get a whole lot of questions on it. Like a lot of people say, am I strong enough to wear a belt? Or when should I start wearing a belt? Or you think this will help me? Or what should I get? So get that question a lot, and I want to just answer it. I think I might actually write a blog about it too, because we get so many questions on it. So first off, let's answer the first part. A weightlifting belt, like one of the things you wear here, we'll go over in a second. There's no minimum requirement of strength to need or be able to wear a belt. All right. And we're going to talk about when is appropriate to wear them and not, but you don't have to like lift X amount of pounds to be able to wear one. You could be brand new to weightlifting. You could be a veteran at weightlifting, and it doesn't matter because the amount of load that you're lifting, as far as comparable load, like 100 or 200, doesn't dictate whether you need a belt or not. The belt is dictated by your physical capacity or your physical ability to be able to lift. All right. So if you're wearing a belt, if you're wearing a weightlifting belt, you're probably a pretty seasoned lifter. And real quick, as I go through this more, weightlifting is what we're talking about. So weightlifting, one word, is snatch and clean and jerk. So the Olympic lifts and any substrate movements of that. So snatch, clean, deadlift, snatch, balance, hang clean, anything that a substrate is anything that would make the big lift actually better. Weightlifting, two words, is bicep curls. Like weight lifting is anything that you would do in a Globo gym, like on a machine or whatever. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, my personal opinion is if you're wearing a belt to do a bicep curl or something like that, where you're not moving this massive external load or something, then your midline is not strong enough to be able to do that. All right. So really everything I'm saying is the real movements that you should be doing. Snatch, deadlift, clean, front squat, back squat, overhead squat, pressing, anything that's where you're really trying to manipulate external load or outside force, and you're putting a lot of pressure on your midline. Okay. So there's no minimum requirement of weight to lift to use a belt. You could be lifting 5 pounds or 505 pounds, whatever your ability level is. Okay, so if you're an experienced weightlifter and you're wearing a belt, experience could be 3 months or it could be 3 years. I'm not saying if you're watching this and you're not a professional that you're not experienced. What I'm saying is that you do it frequently. You should have some type of maximal load that you know you could do. You're not doing just 5 sets of 5 all the time or something. You're working off a periodized structured program where you know how much you can lift one time, or how much you can lift 3 times or 5 times, whatever. And you're probably operating off percentages of that number. So if you're doing that, really try not to wear a belt unless you're 85% or higher. So what we want to do is protect your midline as much as possible. And your midline is your hips and your spine. And we want to make that as strong as possible. We want to be able to lift without the belt as much as possible, because if not, you are masking the deficiency that you have here in your midline. So I think that's really important to develop a good midline. If you're front squatting 85, 87, 90% of your max and you feel like you need a belt, then you can put that on there. But if you're doing 65% in a warm-up and your midline can't take it, we probably need to address the midline issue that's there. And so you really want to try to eliminate wearing a belt unless you're 85% of your max or higher, or unless you're doing a bunch of repetitions. So let's say you're doing a workout that is like deadlifts and wall balls, and you do a bunch of deadlifts and you're like, well, this is pretty sub-maximal. It's not super, super heavy, but I have to do 20 in a row or 25 in a row or something like that. Then you might want to wear that belt to compress those muscles. It's probably going to help with your soreness and fatigue and break down the workout and prevent bad position. So when to wear the belt would be 85% or higher, or high repetitions of that weightlifting movement in a workout. What is the belt not? So I know it's a bad sentence, but the belt is not a Band-Aid, all right? And I kind of view that with any equipment that you might wear. Wrist wraps, knee sleeves, ankle bracelets, like whatever you're gonna come up with, they're not Band-Aids. So for example, let's go off topic for a second. Let's talk about knee sleeves. If you need knee sleeves to do every bending and hinging of the knee movement that you could think of because they hurt otherwise, but you're not doing anything to address the muscular or skeletal issue that is causing the knee to hurt, then you're creating a Band-Aid. If your wrist hurt every time that you put weight over your head and you wear wrist wraps because it makes the pain go away, I get that. But if you're not doing any mobility or strengthening exercises to increase the strength in the joint or open the range of motion, then you're just creating a Band-Aid. So it's there when you need it. It's there for your maxes. It's there for your heavy. It's there for your 85% plus, but it's not a Band-Aid. So what I mean by that is that if you're deadlifting or you're squatting and your back is in a very good position, it remains in a very good position using the belt. You don't want to put the belt on, go to front squat, stand up with it, and your back doesn't hurt because you have a belt on, but you look like mashed potatoes. Shout out to Dan Bailey and Josh Bridges. You look like mashed potatoes. Don't do that. So you're expected that with the belt, you are still looking beautiful in your movement. No matter what movement you're doing, you are still looking fantastic. It's an assistance. So what does the belt do? The belt will make you lift more, but it doesn't make you stronger. Just because you can lift more doesn't always mean that you're stronger. Because we're trying not to prevent a Band-Aid. We're trying not to give you something that makes your body collapse and you just get by doing it because you couldn't feel the pain. But it will allow you to lift a little bit more. And it's to stabilize and support your midline, so hips and spine. It's there if you need it, meaning that you don't want to rely on the belt. You don't want, like for example, what a lot of people will do is they'll put the belt on and they'll completely relax their midline and they'll push out into the belt. And when you do that, you're training your body to do that when you take the belt off. You should be contracting and holding yourself up as tight as you can, just like you would do without the belt. And then you do that when you're not wearing the belt. You do it when you're wearing the belt. And you make sure that your position is always tight and always good. You're just using the belt just in case something weird happens on that triple body weight deadlift. And it's really there for support. But it will help you lift more. But remember, it's not a Band-Aid. You don't get oh, I can't feel the pain, so I'm just gonna lift however I want because the belt keeps my herniated disc in. Like, you're not trying to do that. You're trying to maintain and look good, all right? So let's talk about types of belts. So just to recap here before we talk about types. When you wanna wear a belt, it doesn't matter how long you've been training. You can get a belt on your first day of training. 85% or higher in your load, or a workout with a lot of repetitions. Then what is it not? It's not a Band-Aid, all right? So you're not allowed to just do whatever you want while you're wearing the belt. What does it do? It helps you lift more, but it doesn't make you stronger. Midline support, which is hips and spine. You're still expected to look beautiful while you're lifting. It's just there in case if you need it. Okay. I actually went through, and I was going to do this video today, and I walked around, and of course, everybody took home all their belts. Everybody leaves the belts here all the time, which is fine. Everybody took home all their belts, and I want to have a bunch out, so I'm going to have to describe it and talk rather than show you. So I would recommend, so as I go through this, I know there's a lot of people that might be watching this, or they're members here, that have a preference on a belt that it goes against what I'm going to prescribe. I think this is more critical than whatever type of belt I would recommend. I think wearing it when you need to and using it for its reason is way more applicable than you have to wear this brown belt that looks like this or whatever if you're still doing it for the wrong reasons. So really, if you're doing it for the right reasons and the right percentages, I'm cool with it. But here's the deal. So I would recommend one solid strap. So this is the newer Rogue belt. I really like the Rogue belts a lot. Like I've had them for years, and I really like them. This is the leather one. This is the same one they get at the games, and it says "Proven" right here. I think that's pretty cool. But so this is what it looks like newer. Mine, I've had this next one like 3 years or so. This one, and I love it. I have not been able to wear this thing out, and I let members wear it all the time, and the joke is that it comes with a PR. But here's what I mean by one solid strip. I truly think that it helps support your midline better when it's one solid strip the whole way through, all right? So you'll notice that some of the belts, like this one, get really wide in the back. So they get really wide and then come back small. The reason that I don't like that a whole lot is you'll notice that like throughout the quadratic lumborium and the QL, like right here, and to the sides of the spine and stuff, it kind of fans out. It doesn't really hug the athlete as much. I notice that I have to manipulate the belt, especially when I'm showing somebody how to put their new belt on for the first time. I really have to manipulate it to get it to hug their lumbar. That's where you're trying to put the belt is right around that lumbar. And it just kind of moves out in the back. So when they do, like, let's say they're doing like a couple sets of 3 heavy deadlifts or heavy squats, the belt kind of shimmies up them. And let's say you got a little curve to your body or something, and you're not the skinniest rail in the gym, well, then it's going to cause that belt to move while you're squatting. So I don't really like that. I always find that one solid strip the whole way through hugs the athlete's body better, and it feels a whole lot tighter. For regular lifting, like squat, deadlift, whatever, I really prefer a belt with a clip on it. So like, I'm sorry, with a buckle. So like these, because this sucker isn't going anywhere. You just tuck it in here and you're good to go. And it never moves during the workout. And I value that a lot. I mean, I get it's not the best, like if you're doing like burpees or something like that. Like if it was like, let's say you're doing a WOD that's, I keep saying front squats, but front squats and burpees. And it might not feel the best on the burpee, but it's going to help you a lot on the front squat. The ones that are Velcro, so I was kind of against all the Velcro belts because you would Velcro it, and so you'd Velcro it like that. And I would see people all the time squat or in the middle of a workout, and it would like snap off their body. It didn't matter whether they were overweight, underweight, whatever, it would just snap off their body because the Velcro gets worn out. However, I wish I had a Rogue sponsorship, but Rogue came out with this one like a year ago, and it's this black Velcro belt. It's only like $30. And I have never seen anybody's Rogue belt. And it still is one solid strip. The Rogue belts don't curve in the back, but it's one solid strip. I've never seen anybody's Rogue belt break off from them. And that's been great. I mean, we put those things through the ringer, and they never get worn out. They're only $30 versus, I think this one was like 100 and something. Like both these leather belts are like 100 and something. And that Velcro one was like 30, and it never breaks off. But again, I tried to go through here and find more, but everybody took their belts home. But anyways, one solid strip, and you want it to be really thick. That's another thing too. So you can get these thin belts. Like all belts are not the same. So I know like Gold's Gym sells some at like Dick's, and you can get some at like TJ Maxx and stuff, but they're very thin. You're not going to get that support. You're looking for a very strong hug around your midline. You want that tight support. You don't want a very thin, flimsy belt. You know, like this one right here, like there's nothing, like that's not going to hold you in very well. You're kind of getting the idea of a belt. You're not getting that tight squeeze, that tight hug, versus if I put this thing on, it's not letting me go anywhere. It's going to form to my body. Non-broken or segmented. So you'll notice that a lot of them, like I've seen a couple like this, that they're always the ones that get real big in the back. Remember I said I wouldn't really recommend one that goes from small to really big. I don't like that. I like one smooth strip the whole way around. It's kind of broken here. And I don't know if that's just through manufacturing, they can save cost or whatever, but it'll be like a block and then some cloth, a block and then some cloth. Those are like cheapo belts. I mean, like I said, that Rogue belt, that black Velcro Rogue belt, with like $30, a bunch of people here have them, and it's never broke. And then all the ones, the crappy ones, they're like 25 or 45, and they're still broken in the back. My dog is snoring right now. He's out snoring. But so the ones that are broken in the back, they don't give you a whole lot of support. You're not getting that tight hug. So all this, it's not going to apply. And then no arch in the back, like I've been saying since the beginning. So really what I'm saying is whatever belt company you decide to go with, I would recommend a leather belt that is one solid strip the whole way through. The only Velcro one that I've seen work well is the Rogue one that doesn't come undone. Box Stalker did make a good one, or they do, and a lot of people have that, but I've just seen it get worn out over time. I've seen it like just break off over time. I've had this one since 2012, so my $100-something has done well, versus having to rebuy the belts all the time. So one solid strip, no breaking in the back. It doesn't get wider in the back. You don't want that. One solid strip. You want a thicker belt. You don't want a little flimsy thing that you can move. Like, see how that one doesn't bend really much at all? I'm going to get a very tight grip from that. Then at minimum, you could disagree with everything that I just said about belts. That's fine. Like I said, the type of belt might be up to your preference. Okay, that's cool. But no matter what belt you wear it when it's 85% or greater. If you don't need it, don't need it. I mean, if you can squat 95% without a belt, go you. But 85% or greater, high repetitions in the same load. It is not a Band-Aid, meaning you don't get to just put this thing on and lift with whatever mechanical inefficiencies you want. And it will make you lift more, but it doesn't make you stronger. It supports your midline and helps precautiously when you're going for these big, heavy numbers if something accidentally happens. All right. So again, there's no minimum requirement on fitness level to wear a belt. You can be brand new or you can be a seasoned athlete. So there's that. You got any questions, reach out to me and let me know. We are hitting CrossFit Open 12.3 today in the WOD. That's going to be good because open registration went out today. But yeah, just you got any questions, let me know. And happy Friday.